Good morning, everyone. It is with great pleasure that as Director General of the Italian Medicines Agency, I open this meeting that will present the most recent report on the prevention of theft in the Italian national health system. It is a highly praised work that over time the group of Dr. Di Giorgio has coordinated, bringing Italy at the highest level in Europe in the prevention of theft. It is also in this moment a highly expected kind of actions, because the arrival soon of several vaccines in the forthcoming semester will have to be taken as a protected good, and I am sure that this kind of activity, so well coordinated, will make Italy able to prevent the theft in our national health system. Congratulations to all, and have a nice activity during the forthcoming hour.
Thank you to our Director General for the kind words and for accepting to open this conference on pharmaceutical theft. It's a theme on which IFA is cooperating from years with a huge network of stakeholders, private stakeholders and administration. So I'm happy to give the floor also to some of the partners that IFA has in this activity. In particular, the representative from the Marketing Authorization Holder Association, Farmindustria and Egualia, Luca Paules and Adriano Pietro Santo, and the reference expert we have in the Pharmaceutical Security Institute, the international body dealing with investigation on pharmaceutical crime, Cecilia Fant. So I'm happy to give them the floor.
Good morning, and thanks for the invitation. My name is Luca Paules from Farmindustria. I'd like to bring you greetings from pharmaceutical companies and to thank the Italian Pharmaceutical Agency for this initiative that attracts national and international attention upon medicine theft and counterfeiting. This working group is an excellent example of cooperation, since representatives, both from public administration and companies, are all together around the same table. Medicine theft are an issue to which this working group has been able to propose solutions that comes from the analysis of data and circumstances. A work that gives results in Italy and in other European countries where Italian best practice has been exported. So I can only renew my thanks to the Italian Pharmaceutical Agency for the great job, and to all stakeholders part of this working group for their contribution. Have a nice day and wishes for this webinar.
Morning, everybody. I am Adriano Pietro Santo, Head of Technical and Scientific Area, Industrial Manufacturing and Quality of Egualia, the Italian Association of Generics, Biosimilar and Value-Added Medicines Industry. First of all, I would like to transfer the greetings of the President of Egualia, Enrique Oiserman. Thanks to IFA for the invitation, and especially for the coordination of this important group on pharmaceutical anti-counterfeiting. Just a couple of concepts from my side at the start of this webinar. The crisis unit IFA Industry Association in the COVID period has demonstrated the effectiveness of the synergy between industry and institution. In this sense, the extension of this cooperation to this group is confirming the winning formula of this interaction. Also, the guidelines on the pharmaceutical strategy recently released by the European Commission emphasize the importance of structural cooperation between companies and institutions at national and at the European level. All action to prevent the theft of medicines and the counterfeiting have always seen a close cooperation between industry, national and international agencies. Each companies implement a different approach to prevent the counterfeiting according to their procedures and according to the type of medicine supply. And last but not least, we are full committed in the implementation of the European FMD, the Falsified Medicine Directive, even in relation to our national tracing system managed by the NCs. Thanks to everyone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cecilia Fant. I work for the Pharmaceutical Security Institute, PSI. Thank you so much, IFA, for inviting me today to give a short introduction to PSI. We are working at PSI as a bridge between law enforcement and the health regulatory and the pharmaceutical industry. As a former police officer, I know how important it is to gather all information you can to create a good investigation. You need all the pieces of the puzzle. Let the PSI members help you to make an even better investigation. PSI members are working all around the world with identifying criminals, try to find out where their product are counterfeited or stolen or diverted. Let us share the information we have with you. Let us be your piece in the puzzle. PSI is a fact-finding non-profit organization. We are happy to work with you to protect public health, share information of what we know about counterfeiting activity, and also start up investigation. We have a good database which we gather information from the open source, from law enforcement, from the public sector, but of course our most important source is our members. They are 37, and we are working together with counterfeits, theft, and illegal diversion. Our 37 members are research and developing manufacturing companies, international, so they're all around the world, and they get information from different corners of the world in the PSI database, and we are trying to find a good view of what's happening around the world. Thanks so much for your attention. If you have any questions, please, I'm happy to answer them. My email is below here. Thank you.
So we presented our partners, part of our partners, because the story and the activities that we will report are involving many other stakeholders in Italy and at an international level. Then I will try to give you a snapshot of the framework in which we developed our activities. So I have to start from the beginning, so from the volcano case, 2014. In 2013, we had an issue in Italy with respect to medicines being stolen from hospitals, so industries asked IFA to do something, to arrange something. So what we did was to approach the issue from a scientific point of view. We set up a system for gathering data and used the data for setting up scenarios. We used the scenarios for trying to confirm our forecast and to find the channel where the stolen medicines were laundered. This is the summary of the volcano case, so that the end of the case was that stolen medicines were laundered through fake paperwork stating, falsely stated the origin from non-existing wholesalers placed in other European countries, and the stolen products together with the fake documentation were then laundered over other markets in Europe through the parallel distribution network. Then those bogus wholesalers were the key tool for a huge machinery, an organization able to coordinate the many different thefts that were happening in Italy, and then that up to then were investigated locally without seeing the bigger picture. What we did with the Operation Volcano was to demonstrate the existence of a scheme, to share this scenario with prosecutors at the national and at international level, allowing a lot of specific interventions. So people was arrested, and a lot of rapid alert for seizing products were launched at the European level. The result of the Operation Volcano was that in Italy we dismantled basically the organization, and that we closed the channel for laundering the illegal medicines. Nevertheless, the plot was quite simple to be copycatted, and what happened was that in a few years, since Europe did not change the control and the rules for this kind of parallel distribution networks, the same criminal plot was found always targeting the parallel distribution, mainly in Germany, in other European member states. So in particular, the Luna Farm case was copying the Volcano scheme with products that were illegally sourced in Greece. And this demonstrated the fact that if you do not act in a holistic way by involving all stakeholders and all countries, you will simply shift the criminals' activities from one country to another. These are the results of the Volcano operation in Italy. We were strong enough to have 3 years without any event of theft, and we only saw a recurrency of cases since 2017, 2018, so after 3 years without basically almost no cases, when the criminals changed their behavior. So instead of targeting the parallel distribution in Europe, since the products from Italy became difficult to be sold because we were publishing blacklist of stolen medicines in real time, they started targeting products that were good for the illegal market at national level. So in 2017 and 2018, we had cases of theft related to, for instance, high-cost hepatitis drugs that were requested also in the black market in Italy. The idea was that on the other side of our investigation, we have organization able to distribute in different ways. So they were able to source to steal anything and to source the stolen product. The OTC and pharmacy product were laundered in specific pharmacies that were, let's say, accessible to the criminals. The doping and other similar substances were recycled on the black market or on the internet, and the high-cost hospital medicines were laundered in the European parallel trade network at the beginning and even in recent cases. So since we noticed that the lack of attention and awareness to the phenomenon was an issue, we published a white paper for the European Commission and publication on the features of this specific phenomenon at the European level in order to raise awareness and to have a better counteracting activity in the other EU member states. So even initiatives such as the publication that we developed with the Council of Europe EDQM related to the implementation of the Mediterranean Convention, demonstrating that the current legal framework is not strong enough to deter the criminals, was part of this raising awareness activity. The tool that we developed and implemented at the national and international level was a quite simple database. As you can see, we gather data from industries. Anytime they notice a theft, they send us all the relevant information, and we issue a national periodical report that's shared at the European level. So we implemented the same database through the fake share project with the support of other EU member states. And for instance, in UK, when they set up a system for gathering data with respect to theft, they noticed that, as we expected, they had the level of incidence of the phenomenon that was in line with the Italian one, because the root of this criminal phenomenon is that we have high-cost products, medicines like oncology drugs, that are easily laundered in specific markets, that are stored in non-secured framework like the hospital pharmacies. Since we wanted to demonstrate that the issue was the lack of attention to the phenomenon, we went for a survey. We submitted it to the group of the Delegated Act on Safety Features for the 2011-62 directive, so a network of experts dealing with traceability. And we asked all of the EU member states, European Economic Space Area and bordering countries to check what they had in place against theft. So I don't want to go in detail on the survey. You can find all of the data in our publication that will be also available after this event online, not only in hard copy. But anyway, at the end, the thing that we demonstrated was that in almost all European states, there was no specific channel for signaling theft or suspicious offers, in spite of the 2011-62 directive obligation to report the suspicious offers. Then we proposed the European network to do something. So we are publishing this booklet also for keeping in, trying to raise awareness. You have to have a system in place for gathering data about theft. Thefts are reported locally. And if you are not noticing that there is an organization organizing different theft in your country, you may not notice that you have an issue. Then this is in a nutshell, these are the results of the research. We know how many cases are roughly reported at a European level, but if we go checking the network where the signal should be distributed, we found a very low number of cases. So it's important to have better reporting, to have all member states actively setting up systems for gathering data, and if useful, to see the things that we developed in Italy for trying to reduce the impact of the phenomenon. I will now leave the floor to other speakers that will give you an overview of what Italy did, in particular with respect to the securing of the channels. But the starting point that should be kept in mind is that at the moment the legal framework is not strong enough to deter from this criminal behavior. So I'm happy to give the floor to Diana Russo, who's a prosecutor that cooperated with us during the Volcano operation and beyond. And she will briefly summarize some of the issues that we had to face when investigating these cases, and she will also try to underline the reason why we feel that the current framework is not strong enough in particular in terms of sanctions.
There has been, in recent years, a significant increase of crimes against the patrimony, thefts, robberies, related to medicines and pharmaceutical products, subtracted in hospitals or during the phases of transport within the official distribution network of the whole international territory. to the purpose of being remarketed in Italy or abroad by means of carousel frauds or through the online sales. The so-called Operation Pharmalab arose from the seizure carried out in early June 2014 of a huge amount of more than 58,000 packages of medicines of different types, genres, and origin, including hospital drugs, for an esteemed market value of more than 839,000 euros, stored inside of a deposit in Arzano, occasionally discovered by the Italian finance police, so-called Guardia di Finanza, of Fiumicino in Rome, at the disposal of two subjects, one of whom is a pharmacist. The investigations initiated by the Public Prosecutor's Office in Napoli North, technical verifications aimed at clarifying the criminal provenance of the seized goods, observation, surveillance and monitoring, interceptions, questioning of the suspects, enabled to identify the members of a criminal association to the purpose of receiving and handling stolen medicines, also from hospital facilities, and robberies, mainly on transport operators, and their subsequent remarketing through the arrangement of false fiscal documentation suitable at stimulating their purchase from suppliers and or Italian pharmacies by appearing foreign companies. In short, the criminal system proved to be organized in different phases: organization and execution on the whole national territory of thefts, mostly in hospital pharmacies, and robberies on transport operators. Phase number 2, storage of stolen goods in hidden deposits situated in the Campania region. Medicine cataloging and arrangement of false documentation by expert co-participants, and transfer to complacent subjects, pharmacies, wholesalers, and distributors, dedicated to reintroducing the stolen medicines on the official circuit. It was possible to charge the following offenses: receiving of stolen goods or coming from an offense, Article 648 of the Italian Criminal Code. It is an offense against the property liable to imprisonment from 2 to 8 years and a fine from 126 euros to 329 euros. Moreover, the aggravating circumstance laid by Article 61, number 7 of the Criminal Code, in relation to the seriousness of the financial damage caused, was also charged. Other than that, it was possible to charge them with possession of narcotic drugs. Article 73, paragraph 1, also related to paragraph 4 of the DPR number 309 of 1990, with respect to some packages of medicines, number 1191, containing active principle which may be routed to the tables enclosing to the consolidated law on narcotic drugs, specifically Table 1, Section 8, and Table 4. Such charge allowed the use of longer terms of pre-trial detention upon consideration of a higher punishment limit, up to 20 years for the possession of the so-called hard or heavy drugs. Criminal association for the purposes of committing the above-mentioned crimes, Article 416 of the Criminal Code. Trade and administering of false or defective medicines, Article 443 of the Criminal Code. On the basis of the above-mentioned considerations, the introduction of an ad hoc offense case, or at least an aggravating circumstance with specific effects for offenses against the property, whether concerning medicines or anyhow products whose sale is subject to authorizations, appears desirable. Moreover, accessory sanctions against professionals who, at any level, contribute in the crime should be introduced. In parallel, it would be useful to envisage the possibility, or even an obligation, for public prosecutor offices to notify to the professionals' orders the files of the proceedings soon as they can be exhibited. Consideration could be given as well to the possibility to notify to AIFA the files related to proceedings concerning counterfeiting and or illicit traffic of medicines, soon as they can be exhibited. The agency could thus inform the different public prosecutor offices about the simultaneously pending proceedings against the same or anyhow connected subjects, or so stimulating a coordination of the investigations or, however, a better comprehension of the criminal phenomenon. The medicine traceability system may be further reinforced and increased also by extending to all the intermediate operators of the distribution chain the burden of cataloging the single stocks of medicines, which are object of subsequent commercial transaction. At the same time, pharmaceutical companies could be invited to manufacture small batches or to better enforce traceability when dealing with big batches. Finally, differentiating the packaging of hospital medicines in order to make their marketing and retail more difficult, stimulating an extensive control.
As I mentioned, the situation in Italy is peculiar because we have many systems already in place. So we used some of the tools that will be described in the next session, even during the volcano operation. So we have a full traceability system in place from years, and we have a strong cooperation between the agency and the network, for instance, of hospital pharmacies, allowing us to set up together with industries project for securing hospital pharmacies as the one that will be described later. And we have a specialized police force dealing with health-related issue, Carabinieri NAS, that are able to develop ad hoc investigation in cooperation with Ministry of Health, AIFA, and private stakeholders and the distribution network. So we have a series of tools that we will describe during the following. I'm happy to open this session in which some of our partners will explain the existing tools. So we will have Claudia Biffoli from the Italian Ministry of Health that will speak about the traceability. We will have Stefano Imperatori from the National Mint that also will explain how the traceability sticker we have in Italy works. We will have Marcello Pani from the Italian Society for Hospital Pharmacies that will give us a snapshot of the guidelines and of the project that we set up for securing hospital pharmacies. And finally, we will have a case study from Lieutenant Colonel Alessio Papa, that's the head of the unit of the Carabinieri NAS in my agency. So I'm happy to give them the floor for their presentation of some of the tools that we have at national level.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Claudia Biffoli. I work at the Italian Ministry of Health, and I am the head of the unit that has in charge of the Italian traceability system for medicines. I would like to give you some information about this system. In recent time, systems for tracking sanitary products, in this definition being included medicines, vaccinations, and medical devices, have been developed to contrast the counterfeiting and illicit distribution on the market. Tracking is defined as the possibility of identifying the origin and the different steps in the production process. In the health sector, there are two different models. E-pedigree, a model of traceability which allows the full traceability of a single packaging from the beginning to the end of the distribution. This model requires significant investments and a change in the working process for each player of the distribution chain. End-to-end model allows identifying the authenticity of a package only at the end of the distribution chain. This model has a significant impact on the producer and on the final steps of the distribution chain. Pharmacies, public and private health facilities, businesses, professional officer, etc. But it also accounts that all distribution chain in a sort of black box. The Italian traceability system currently adopts an intermediate model that is placed in between the e-pedigree and end-to-end model. The Italian model. The Italian system was created to quickly locate medicines on the national territory in order to strengthen measures against possible frauds to public health and to the national health services. The model e-pedigree has been identified. During the preparation of the first implementation decree, in the phases of confrontation with all the players involved, the prompt adoption of the e-pedigree model is turned out too complex. A gradual implementation of the system was therefore envisaged, divided into phases according to the different types of players. So Italy has adopted a path of gradual implementation, which enabled to start feeding central data bank very fast, adopting some simplifications and including the control of pharmaceutical expenditure for the National Health Service. The gradual approach has guaranteed technical and organizational sustainability of the system's implementation. The legislation has accompanied the development of the different phases and has regulated the unique identifier of the individual pack of a medicinal product and the central data bank. The first step was being the definition of the rules for identification of an individual pack of a medicinal product. So we have the bollino. Each pack has an adhesive 2 layers label, bollino is the name in Italian, displaying AC code, that is specific product code, which identifies its commercial form, issued by the Italian Medicine Agency. We have on the bollino linear barcodes plus human readable format. Then we have medicine denomination. Then the owner or legal representative of a foreign owner, progressive identification code of the pack, serial number, and this serial number is in linear barcodes plus human readable format. Then we have another symbol, data matrix, that summarizes the information related to the marketing authorization number plus the progressive identification code. So we have that AC code plus serial number is a unique identifier of an individual pack of a medicinal product. The National Mint Institute produced the labels to be applied on the packs of the medicines in commerce in Italy in order to assure the unicity of the unique identifier and the uniform quality of the printing. This is a simplified diagram The different flows show the types of movement of medicines that are being identified in order to feed with the related data the central data bank in a shared language among all the actors involved. The phases. Phase 1 has involved the supply chain, manufacturers, agents, and wholesalers in a simplified way in exchange for the gradualness request by the stakeholder. As we said, additional information charge was added concerning the economic value of the supply of medicine to the public facility of the National Health Services. Moreover, the principle of trust between the actors of the supply chain is being applied in order to reduce the data at the level of outbound movements. Phase 2 has involved the pharmacies, public hospital and National Health Services facility through the transmission of the prescriptions, including the unique identifier at the central data bank. A unique and shared language is defined for the transmission of the data to the central data bank. All the types of movements used by the supply chain, including thefts and loss, are coded, and a XML format is used for files. All the actors are identified, manufacturers, agents, and wholesalers, and also the types of authorization for the wholesalers. And we have identified different warehouses linked to the same holder. Then the National Health Service facilities, hospital, labs, etc., pharmacies, private facilities, stores have a specific national register. Information and services are available on the Italian Ministry of Health website, and this is the link. The central data bank makes some services available to the public. One of these is the verification of the authorization of a wholesaler. It's possible to verify the authorization using a query of the database for this kind of actor. You can use name, VAT number, etc. and you obtain the data related to the actor. Another service available to the public is the verification of a pack of medicine purchased. The service is based on the data available on the pharmaceutical label or on the packaging. So you can use it with a specific pack in your hands and find some information regarding the identification of the pack. In the next slide we have an example. This is an example of the service for the verification of a pack of medicines. This is a pack that I have in my home with the name of the medicine and the pharmaceutical form, the authorization holder, the bolino with a unique identifier, the batch number, and the expiration date on the pack. I have used the online service of verification of the packs of medicine. I have filled the AC code and the serial number, that is the unique identifier of the pack, and submitted the query. This is the result, sorry, only in Italian. First of all, we see esito verifica. This text informs that bollino has been produced by the National Institute. Then we see the generic information of the medicine, name, pharmaceutical form, and the authorization holder, the batch number, and the expiration date registered in the central data bank. So, with this service, we can verify that the pack is authentic. And now, let me say something about the services reserved to the Italian authorities. The data collected in the central data bank are being used for NHS expenditure analysis, sunset clause monitoring, analysis by the regulatory bodies in order to verify the authenticity of found or under investigation packs, and the traceability of the supply chain, distributive deficiencies monitoring, verification of drugs exportation, remote control of the supply chain. You can find all the information you need at the website of the Ministry of Health, or you can send an email to this email address. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Di Giorgio, to give me the floor. First of all, on behalf of the Poligrafico and myself, I would like to express sincere thanks to EIFA for organizing an event of outstanding importance and, above all, for the constant commitment and now an international reference point in the fight against drug falsification. The Italian system is the most effective anti-counterfeiting and traceability system for the pharmaceutical market in Europe. For the reasons, in Italy, thanks to the affixing on the optical sticker called bollino on every single package, combined with an efficient drug traceability system managed by the Ministry of Health, the so-called NSIS, New Health Information System, it is possible to control the entire route of the drug, from the manufacturer to the pharmacy. The sticker, which guarantees the authenticity of the medicines on the market, contains the essential information for tracing a medicine, identifying each individual package, its producer, and all the operators who manage it until the final sale. The current Italian drug traceability system, which also contributing to monitor the annual pharmaceutical expenditure, allows to our country to benefit from an exemption of the implementation of the European Regulation 161/2016, mandatory from February 2019 for all EU countries, thanks to its effectiveness in terms of safety. An efficacy that exceeds the expectation of Italian institutions themselves, producing important benefits also for the citizens of the other EU member states. All the criminal dynamics eradicated in recent years in Europe by the importation of drugs stolen in the Brandenburg area to the most recent cases discovered in British pharmacies of drugs whose theft EIFA and promptly reported were intercepted thanks to the bollino and the Italian traceability system. The fight against counterfeiting that characterized bollino and all products made by Poligrafico as among its most important elements: impartiality, transparency, and the public interest of management and control system that cannot be managed by those who must be controlled. The level of innovation, which benefiting from an ever-increasing integration between product and services, is more effective and allow the creation of both advanced control system and information dissemination. The Poligrafico prints around 2.5 billion of bollino per year, constantly committing to meet the needs of pharmaceutical companies, providing and dedicated services focused on continuous improvement. Furthermore, the ANSYS Bollino system performs a further very important function. It is the tool by which, together with the LCAR system established at the State General Account Office, which carries out the optical reading of the Bollino in pharmacies, the Ministry of Health and AIFA support the Ministry of Economy and Finance in monitoring annual pharmaceutical expenditure. The unique identification code printed on each sticker is in fact also the reimbursement code for drugs dispensed by National Health Service. The effectiveness of the Italian drug traceability system risks being lost with the implementation of the European Regulation 161/2016, establishing traceability system for drugs placed on the market in the member countries of the European Union, starting on 9 February 2019. The system does not include the use of counterfeiting elements and does not establish traceability in the drug market supply chain. It is limited to checks at the manufacturer and at the pharmacies. In consequence of this choice, the European system is not able to guarantee the authenticity of the drugs administered to the patient. Italy is one of the world's leading producers of pharmaceutical products and exports over 60% of its production, estimated at around 10 billion packs per year, for a turnover value of nearly 30 billion euros. The reasons for the strategic nature of this sector are evident in terms of protection of the health of the citizen, security, containment of public spending, economic development, and fiscal revenues. For these reasons, I believe that in order to avoid counterfeiting phenomena in the medicines market, the European model must be overcome, and the extension of the current system, safeguarding the present level of security of citizens and the technical and organization developers that over the years have led to the creation of ANSYS and LCAR system, which otherwise should give way to a less solid system. Thank you all you for your time and attention.
Thanks to AIFA, thanks to Dr. Domenico Di Giorgio for the invitation. I am Marcello Pani, hospital pharmacist and National Secretary of SIFO, Italian Society of Hospital Pharmacy. And I'm glad to present a project. The name is Padlock. Stop to drug theft in hospital, the quality of excellence is here. Padlock is the acronym of Project to Adequate Level of Security in Hospital Pharmacy against theft risk and definition of technical standards. The objective is theft prevention, to secure hospital pharmacies, and to improve monitoring systems and verify proper cold storage of thermolabel drugs. The actions of SIFO are promotion of a diffuse culture of prevention against theft in the hospital pharmacies, focus on security and risk management, publication of the guidelines, best practice, to share the effective experiences, define of an operative tool for the assessment of the safety of hospital pharmacies. The evaluation of the risk are classified in 5 classes, from seriously inadequate to very good. And this is the results of SIFO's survey of 2018. And the specific guideline for security assessment is focused on 6 themes. The first is evaluation of safety. The second, projecting of the protection system. The third, minimum level of system security that the hospital pharmacy should have contained the following 5 criteria. The next is logistics and safety. Number 5, internal auditing. And the last one, general recommendations. This is the cover of our line guide for security of hospital pharmacies. We have many collaborations with IFA, Farmindustria, School Special of Pisa. And as conclusions, we can see the natural consequence of padlock in the guideline with IFA, and CIFO collaborate to support IFA in the single event. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Alessio Papa, commander of the IFA Carabinieri unit, that is a unit specialized in the field of medicines, employed by the Carabinieri Command for the protection of health. I'm here today representing precisely the Carabinieri Command for the protection of health to present a case study concerning the specific sector we are talking about. Specifically, I will briefly illustrate the Tawa operation, which saw NAS of Cremona as the main actor of the investigation. On September 2019, the Carabinieri of the NAS of Cremona, on order of the prosecutor of Cremona, carried out 18 precautionary measures and 34 search decrees. Totally 34 subjects were investigated as involved in various capacities in an international trafficking of drugs, mainly oncological, antiviral, and intended for particular treatments. During the operation, 220 carabinieri were employed, operating in 7 provinces: Milan, Naples, Cremona, Lodi, Piacenza, Bologna, and Salerno. During the investigation, 824 packages of medicines were seized. All of them were characterized by high therapeutic and commercial value, mainly oncological and antiviral, for a value of 4 million euros. It was the profit of a large number of burglaries committed between 2017 and 2018 in hospital pharmacies, local health authorities, and pharmaceutical warehouses in Lombardy, Sicily, Calabria, Puglia, Campania, and Molise. The operation stems from the seizure of a single package in Crema, which had been delivered by an Egyptian citizen to a private express courier. The resulting investigation shed light on an organization based in the North Italy aimed at receiving and trading high-cost medicines, all destined for the foreign market. As can be expected, without respecting the storage and the storage temperatures required for the specific medicines. The investigation conducted made it possible to reveal the various roles within the organization. At the base, subjects who physically committed the thefts of medicines from pharmacies, of territorial health companies and public hospitals, as well as from pharmaceutical logistics. Next, we find the first level offenses, mainly of Campania origin. Finally, the heads of the organization, North African citizens who, thanks to the collaboration of supporters and couriers, took care of the phases of exporting. The medicines were exported by air shipments via couriers or passengers departing from Milano Malpensa Airport to France, Germany, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Syria. Here they were taken into custody by accomplices located throughout the area who dealt with the transport logistics and placement in local warehouses. Sometimes they delivered directly to private individuals, such as doctors and wealthy patients. The contribution of the IFA Carabinieri unit was mainly based on analysis and data crossing that made it possible to reconstruct and identify the illicit origin of medicines stolen between the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018 at a well-known pharmaceutical logistics in Lodi and at the internal pharmacies of hospitals and local health authorities located in regions of southern Italy. In conclusion, we can say that Operation Dawa represents an important repression intervention in the fight against a particularly insidious criminal phenomenon. Insidious both for the considerable economic damage for the public health service and for the type of medicines intended for the treatment of important pathologies. It was also insidious for the serious health hazard to which it exposed unsuspecting patients due to the failure to apply the correct procedures for keeping medicines. Those arrested will be tried for criminal association, receiving stolen goods, aggravated theft, and trafficking of imperfect medicines. My brief intervention ends here. Thank you for attention.
Thanks to all the speakers for explaining some of the features of the tools that we have in place in Italy. Since we have a traceability system with tools for verification at the web level, and we can then have the support of operators, and we may have operators from abroad checking the products. It is quite easy for us to use those data for investigations, such as the one that was reported by Carabinieri NAS. So we wanted to share this information, and we wanted to work with those data at a strategic level. So what we did in recent years was to develop instruments by using the existing piece of regulation, just like the rapid alert tools, for raising the awareness at the European level with respect to the need for a better verification of the products that are exported from Italy, and in general on the trades that may happen involving operators that sometimes are not exactly in the legal network. So in a few words, I will try to report to you a model, an approach to the verification. So what we did in recent years, since 2019, was to try to, to give the tools to the European network for supporting our investigation on the illegal export. Since we had some reporting from operators from abroad related to the products that were exported from Italy without the traceability stickers, and since the traceability sticker is a very relevant tool in our activities, we decided to go for a rapid alert with respect to medicines that were lacking the Bolino sticker. So UK reported some of those products. So we went for a verification with respect to the product that they found without the sticker, and this triggered an investigation in which we found an illegal exporting channel of medicines raked from the pharmacies and exported out of the traceability. So we started with an hypothesis. We went for a rapid alert, sharing a verification practice, allowing the operators in UK to verify some specific trades. We used the data from their trades, and we discovered a model. We shared the model with the police forces, and we had an investigation that dismantled an exporting channel. Then this non-urgent information that explained how to check the bollino was reinforced by using the publication that one of the publications that we are now showing, a publication explaining the features and the ways for verifying the Bollino stickers, because we felt that the same criminals that were raking the product without the sticker would probably had to change their behavior, inventing something else for exporting the raked medicines. We then issued a guideline for operators that was distributed through the Rapid Alert network, and the results were quite good, because after the Rapid Alert from UK found some products that were lacking the Bollino, and we demonstrated that they were from illegal sources, so UK withdraw those products from the market. We also had a report with respect to fake Bollino stickers. So the criminals were raking the medicines, and since the medicines, when dispensed, had not longer the sticker, they substituted it with a fake sticker. But always looking at the phenomenon at the strategic level, if we make the operator learn how to check the fake stickers, they will report to us, and we will use their report for investigation. And also in this case, we had the same result. So we had an investigation that's still ongoing. We dismantled another illegal exporting channel by using the features of our traceability system. So just to confirm the power of this tool. But as I mentioned, since criminals are trying to make profit of these goods, they will invest, so to say, in research as we are doing. So it's important to keep in refining the tools that we use for developing our activities. So this last session will be focused on some of the perspective activities that we have in place. In particular, a project of reinforced traceability that we developed together with the Consorzio Daphne. Consorzio Daphne is the association of stakeholders dealing with traceability. They set up a web system that IFA can use for better trace specific risky products. Then we will have a presentation from Karen Brazard on behalf of the Pharmaceutical Security Institute and of MSD, explaining the point of view of the industry with respect to the cooperation we have in place. And finally, we will come back to the communication, because we, as I mentioned, the lack of awareness at the European level with respect to the tools and to the phenomenon is one of the issues. So that's the reason why we are investing also in communication, because the more the network know about the phenomenon and the tools, the better the fight will continue. So I'm happy to give the floor to Daniele Marazzi, Consorzio Daphne, Karen Broussard, MSD, and Stefano Imperatori for the National Mint.
Well, good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here presenting the Reinforced Traceability Initiative promoted by Consorzio Daphne in collaboration with both companies and logistics service providers of the healthcare supply chain in order to support IFA in its action against the drug theft. So why the Consorzio Daphne? Oh, because we are a B2B community in the healthcare industry owned by more than 170 organizations which play several different roles into the healthcare supply chain. And furthermore, we connect a broader ecosystem made up of more than 800 players of the sector. And we are born almost 30 years ago with the main aim to support the digitization of the order cycle among players of the healthcare supply chain. And today we are playing a more and more pivotal role in fostering digital innovation into the ecosystem, being the point of reference for the governance of these initiatives. And we perform a wide portfolio of activities, among which I want to highlight the digital platform, which enables the electronic documents interchange among the organization. And this because the platform, this digital platform, has been leveraged in order to develop the reinforced traceability initiatives, a project that stems from the discussions performed into the specific IFA work group dedicated to analyze and challenge the drug theft phenomenon. In this meeting, we realized how this issue is extremely topical, both in hospital premises and other healthcare facilities, unfortunately. And from this observation, we developed the Reinforced Traceability Initiative. How does it work? Let me explain it briefly. Here you can see a simplified schema of the healthcare supply chain composed by healthcare companies, logistics service provider, and hospitals, of course, also carriers which deliver products to different healthcare facilities. During the outbound activities, the logistics service provider reads each single serial number of the products that the healthcare companies highlighted as sensible drugs. This information is communicated to the reinforced traceability platform, becoming available to IFA. In this way, IFA can assess the list of serial numbers of each sensible drug pack sent to various healthcare facilities during the last weeks. In case of a theft, the hospital may promptly notify IFA without waiting to the identification of the stolen items. Indeed, IFA itself is able to retrieve the list of the potentially stolen packs from the latest shipments together with their specific serial numbers, thus providing a boost to the next actions that will be carried out to fight the specific theft. As I stated before, this solution works not only for the deliveries towards the hospitals, but also for the one issues by the logistics service providers to both pharmacies and healthcare wholesalers. And furthermore, the Reinforced Traceability Initiative provides IFA of a multi-level support. In fact, it will be useful not only in case of a theft from an healthcare facility, allowing the search by a recipient of the shipments, but also in case of theft during transportation, thanks to the search by delivery information. And in addition, it can be useful in case of suspicious discovery of drugs too, by cross-checking the serial numbers of the discovered products with the information stored into the platform. And this is not only an interesting idea, I hope depicted into a nice slide, because the Reinforced Traceability platform is already up and running. Since last summer, IFA is able to perform the research and analysis of this presentation, leveraging these tools in its action against the drug theft. And we are confident that this can help to contain and reduce the phenomenon. And so thanks to everyone, and enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Brezard, and I am the Regional Security Director for EMEA region at MSD, a biopharmaceutical company headquartered in the US. It's a great pleasure for me to present you some of the work we are doing at MSD to protect our patients and the company's reputation from the negative impacts of counterfeit, stolen, and other illicit medicines. Let's have a look at the pharmaceutical supply chain to start. We, as a manufacturer, are enabling product protection through the use of sophisticated overt and covert product security features, as well as unit-level serialization on our finished products. Our supply chain security strategy is also designed to enable the efficient and secure end-to-end movement of our products and materials. It covers our manufacturing sites, our warehouses, and of course, the transportation between both. But the reality that this represents only a small portion of the pharmaceutical supply chain. As soon as our products enter into commercial distribution, we don't have the same level of control as we don't own the products anymore. As you can imagine, it is very difficult, if not impossible, for MSD to prevent the theft of medicine in a pharmacy or at a hospital. And in addition to this legitimate supply chain, we also need to take into account the illegitimate supply chain. As you can see, fraudulent products can reach patients in several ways. And this is why we also have an investigation and enforcement pillar in our strategy to deter, detect, and respond to counterfeit or diversion activity in a way that mitigates risk to patient safety. Now let's consider for a minute the specific threats related to oncology products. First of all, most oncology medicines are often high value and they are under a huge demand. Their reimbursement can vary country by country and affordability can sometimes be an issue. In addition, consider the new oncology products that are available that don't target a specific tumor, but rather enable the body's own immune system to attack the cancer. While they are currently approved for use in a narrow list of cancers, they have the potential to be applied to a wide variety of cancer types. And this creates a significant demand for off-label, unapproved use, for which there is not a legitimate supply. Consequently, these medicines are extremely attractive for criminals who can easily resell them to patients who are desperate to get their treatment. While some patients may be looking for a cheaper price, many others are looking simply to gain access to a medicine. This access-motivated demand has created a new threat profile for oncology medicines. In addition, most onco products are cold chain products. They should be stored between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius. This means that even if a product is authentic, if it was stolen and kept in the wrong storage conditions, it may become ineffective. And we need to remember that these are life-saving medicines. The more medically significant a drug is, the more dangerous it is to a patient if it's not working, either because it is falsified and contains no active ingredient, or because the cold chain has been broken and the medicine lost its efficacy. The combination of addressing threats as they are brought to our attention, so this is our reactive approach, and an aggressive, proactive threat identification and assessments enable us to develop a more complete understanding of the risk our oncology patients are exposed to, and therefore our ability to protect them from those risks. We are also strongly committed to cooperating with all relevant stakeholders to fight the problem of counterfeit, stolen, and illicit pharma products, and to educate the public too and the patients about the risk of illicit products and how to protect against them. The threat to patient safety from counterfeit or stolen medicine is not specific to our company. Consequently, we work with industry peers and proactively share intelligence with other pharmaceutical companies. There is absolutely no competition between us on this topic. Just because we are not protecting our market shares, we are just protecting patients. The pharma companies are a great wealth of information and support regarding their products. But the reality is that we rely heavily on law enforcement and regulatory authorities to conduct enforcement actions. In turn, law enforcement agencies have tremendous investigative and enforcement capacities, but may not have access to information on company-specific products, forensic testing capacity, and other global threat intelligence. This is why it is so important to work together at the country level. And to take the example of Italy, this is what we are doing in our very regular interaction with Domenico Di Giorgio from the AIFA, or with the Guardia di Finanza or NAS Carabinieri, but also at the regional or even global level. That's why I was so pleased to hear about the recent discussions between OLAF and AIFA to develop a project focusing on illicit oncology medicines in Europe and potentially over Europe. It is amazing and will have such a significant impact on patients. Finally, wholesalers, pharmacies, and hospitals also have a role to play in protecting the products in their possession and also escalating all incidents, even small, to the authorities. Thanks to this reporting system in Italy, we are, for example, able to confirm to customs authorities who made a seizure, for example, in France, that this specific pack was stolen at a Rome hospital in, let's say, January 2020. It's extremely valuable information for them. So I'd really like to finish on that. Let's work all together. So that way we will be able to protect our patients and our citizens. Thank you very much for your time today and enjoy the other presentations. Goodbye.
In line with its mission of protecting public trust as well as public health, Poligrafico works in support of the Italian Medicine Agency with specific regard to the activities of safeguarding the general interest of protecting the right to health. In this context, Poligrafico has further strengthened its support to AIFA in initiative focused on awareness and prevention of pharmaceutical crime through the consolidation and development of a specific activity of dissemination of public source information. The initiative involves the publication of volumes and brochure with the editorial trademark of the Libreria dello Stato, that is the state publishing house. Based on this assumption, an ad hoc selection of the catalog was inaugurated and dedicated to the issues of traceability of healthcare products as well as drug counterfeiting. The first group of publications, developed in close cooperation with AIFA, has just been identified and started in progress. These first works are going to constitute the new section of the Libreria dello Stato catalog dedicated to such specific issues. Fixture report, Medicrime report, counterfeit drugs, the phenomena and counterfeit activities, the Italian drug traceability system. First one, the Fixture report, is dedicated to the activities carried out within the Fixture project, a European cooperation and intelligence project to fight against the online sale of illegal or counterfeiting medicine through web pharmacies or unauthorized retailers, of which AIFA is the promoting institution and leader. 2. The Medicrime report, in highlight the inadequacy of the current legislation of pharmaceutical crimes, underline how the greatest failure in the fight against counterfeiting of medicines are due to the absence of international cooperation, as well as how, on the other hand, correctly implementing the Convention Medicrime would allow pharmaceutical counterfeiting to be tackled more effectively. The Medicrime Convention is the first international instrument of legal rules and mechanism aiming to help legislators, regulators and professionals in fight against counterfeiting, manufacture and distribution of drugs placed on the market illegally. A convention born in 2011 and signed by 32 nations, but ratified only by 16 of them, among which, for now, our country has not yet appeared. The volume counterfeiting drugs, the phenomenon and the activities of contrast analyzed through studies and real cases, the various aspects of pharmaceutical counterfeiting, that is to say, the roots of the phenomenon, the types of counterfeit medical products, the increase in diffusion in unallocated channels such as the internet, as well as the legislation, the role of national and international institutions, and the initiative undertaken to prevent falsified medicine entering the legal supply chain. 4. The Italian drug traceability system report is dedicated to the description of the drug traceability system in our country, and in particular to the safety characteristic of the stamps, as well as to real case studies in fight against counterfeiting. In order to ensure maximum dissemination and disclosure of the topics covered, Poligrafico, in agreement with AIFA, will distribute the publication of pharmaceutical companies, national and international institutions, and all stakeholders in the sector, as well as possibility placing them on the book market. We do hope that what has been achieved to date represents only the beginning of a path that, through the collection and enhancement of experiences, studies and regulation, even in accordance with institutions and field operators, will allow us to reach more challenging objectives in acquiring, disseminating, increasing consciousness and awareness of the subject of drugs. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, now we can go to the conclusion of this web conference. I really would like to give you the idea of the complexity of the activities that we set up, that even if it's not easy to see at a glance, are part of a broad, unique project that try to approach the issue of this illegal distribution of products from the many different angles. So we started explaining when we started in 2013 by setting up the database on theft, developing data and data analysis that were crucial for setting up operation. Then we used the data for the operation Volcano. Then we developed models and put them in transparency, allowing the prosecutors to go for investigation, allowing the international network to go for rapid alert and seizure, and for specific actions performed at the national level. Then this was the start, and as a first consequence, we noticed that we had to do something for securing the pharmacies that were the main target of the criminals, and to involve, to better involve the European network in using traceability data that we had in order to see if the model that we noticed in Italy was applied elsewhere. So we had the Padlock project, and we used the Fake Share project for transferring the good practices we had in Italy in other countries. As I mentioned, as soon as other countries set up a channel of transferring data regarding theft, for instance, UK set up an ad hoc law enforcement officer day in the Fake Share framework that was used for explaining the local units that had to report centrally the theft, and then they started reporting UK theft in the Fake Share database, and they noticed that the incidence of the phenomenon is similar to the one that we have in Italy, because we know that the problem is at the more or less at the same level everywhere, but if you are not looking for the data, you won't notice them. The second phase for us was structuring and consolidating the initiatives. So we set up a technical table against theft of medicines involving private stakeholders, the private sector, in particular distributor, logistic companies, corporate security and investigators, together with prosecutor and police forces in order to develop guideline, investigation, model investigation, always to be shared in order to grant the stronger impact to the activities that should be performed not nationally but at an international level. We developed a guideline for the operators in the pharmacies in order to make them learn that their pharmacies should be protected and what to do if they were victim of a theft. For instance, they had to learn how to share timely the data in order to allow us to feed the blacklist to make those products unsellable. Then we had set up a pilot project together with the EMA on the use of data from theft and on setting up a joint database for gathering those data at the European level. Ministry of Health set up the Bollino Check web tool that Claudia Biffoli shown during her presentation. So a web tool where any operator, any patient may check the codes on any Italian pharmaceutical package in order to see if it is legal or not. Then we made the operators and the patients able to verify. Then, since we noticed that the lack of awareness with respect to the phenomenon was the main issue, we went for the survey that I reported, where we demonstrated that the most part of European countries have not a sufficient systems in place for gathering data regarding theft. We made the publication in Italian and English explaining the ways in which the criminals act and some of the key tools for counteracting them. Again, raising awareness publication. Then we went for the rapid alert that I already explained. So we gave the network through the rapid alert channel tools for improving their verification on the imported goods. Then the follow-up to those activities is the current phase where we are trying to go beyond in the awareness raising activities for instance, with publication just like the one we issued with the DQM Council of Europe, Medicrime versus Volcano, explaining the loophole in the current regulation framework. This publication will be translated in Italian, as Stefano Imperatori explained, and published by the National Mint. We extended the participation to the technical table to other police forces, to the logistic operational partner associated under ASSORAM, for instance, and we involved more operators also at the technical level, like the Daphne Consortium, in order to have new tools for counteracting the phenomenon. And then, with respect to the involvement of international partners, we started this cooperation with Olaf that Karen Bresard explained. We are trying to use the reinforced traceability data for tracing stolen oncology drugs also in third countries outside of Europe. We are supporting a project of Council of Europe and DQM for setting up a recommendation or a resolution on pharmaceutical theft in order to have the implementation of the data gathering system that we proposed that should be set up at the national level in order to notice if there are theft to be reported in any of the European countries. And then also this web event is part of the framework, publishing our research and managing web events, open web events, is aimed at raising awareness at the technical level and at the political level, because the more the member states and the other countries, the more the regulatory agency, police forces, and in general, the more the government know about this phenomenon, the better the counteracting tool will be implemented. So the perspectives at the moment, we will go on with this IFA, PSI, OLAF project. We will start developing cooperation with academic partners. We started discussing for a new project with Transcrime, so Università Cattolica di Milano. We hope that we will set up something new with respect to the verification models to be shared. We also know that the social networks are used for a specific channel of exporting and trading illegal oncology drugs. So since we have a very positive experience in cooperating on other fields with platforms like eBay, that we will try to extend the cooperation model to the networks where the stolen medicines are often offered. So not the marketplaces, but generally the social networks are used for making contact, for selling this kind of product. So we will try to extend the model we developed with eBay to other social platforms. Finally, as we did today, we will try to involve better also prosecutors, because it would be great to have training models for prosecutors and from prosecutors, because high level of awareness at the prosecutor level would help police forces and health authorities and private stakeholders in setting up efficient models for investigation. So as you see, is a long list of activities, but the phenomenon is complex, as we mentioned in the title of this event. It is a complex phenomenon, so also the counteracting activities are complex, but we know that the network is strong enough to keep them alive. So I'm sure that after this conference we will have even a stronger cooperation in the international network for counteracting this kind of pharmaceutical crime. So thank to all of you for the participation, and if you are interested in receiving the hard copy of the publication, just drop us an email, but the file will be published in the IFA website, and also the recording of this conference will be maintained on the AIFA YouTube channel. Thank you.